Did you know I missed a last week?
Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe you should have some more fiber in your diet.
Welcome to Maker's Hustle, the podcast about turning your passion into a profession. This is episode 32 for Monday, February 20th, 2017. I'm your host, Bill Lavolsi, and here are my co-hosts, Amy Davis-Roth. Hey, Amy.
Hey.
And Jeffrey Moore. Hey, Jeff.
Hello, hello, hello.
Somebody just woke up.
Yeah, that was a sleepy hello, right?
Yeah. Sound a little, So, I want to take a moment to thank everyone on Patreon, but especially our newest patron, Michael Brindle, and our top supporters, Luis Gonzalez and Ryan Ahoro. So thank you all so much.
Hello,
Thanks.
Michael. Welcome to the
Hey,
family.
Michael. Yeah. Thanks so much.
A warm Maker's Hustle welcome.
Warm and sleepy.
Warm and sleepy.
Warm and snuggly Maker's
I usually welcome you with a big hello, Michael. Welcome back, but welcome
Not
to the
today.
family. But not today. I just woke up. So
If
you'll
you would
get
like
that
to
on the
support
next
the
one.
show like Michael, you can check us out at patreon.com/makershustle. So, what's everybody working on this week? Amy, why don't you go first?
What aren't I working on, right, you guys?
I don't know. That was the question.
I am doing
That's why
so
he
much
asked.
stuff. So, of course, I am doing the regular surly-ramics type work. I made an I Punch Nazis necklace, which got me a whole lot of hate on the internet, which was a lot of fun for me. I really enjoyed it. I made that because there's been, obviously an uptick in the new neo-Nazi, I don't know, fan base or hate base or whatever it is, but there's been some viral videos going around of actual Nazis getting punched, and there's a debate online right now as to whether or not this is an okay thing to do, which is very strange argument to even be having because, our country is sort of based on the idea of freedom, and World War II was all about fighting Nazis so that we could maintain our freedom. So it's really strange, this whole debate as to whether or not it's okay or not okay to punch a Nazi. And so I made some necklaces of it because I had someone request it. And then I got this onslaught of hate on the internet, which was fun for me, quite frankly. So I'm firmly in the it's okay to punch a Nazi camp, and I did necklaces based on that.
I think
I've
my
also done-
great-grandpa punched a Nazi and got a medal.
Yeah,
Oh.
same here. So my grandfather was a fighter pilot in World War II, and he got a Purple Heart. And, he fought Nazis, and I'm sure he punched quite a few. And in my youth, when I was a punk rocker, back in the day, like in the late 80s, early 90s, there was a lot of non-racist skinheads. In fact, that's how the movement actually started. It was about working class pride. It was about ska music and reggae. It was very much part of the black community culture. And then the white people got involved, and it was about working class pride. But then there's a really fringe group, sort of like what's happening now, of neo-Nazis that got involved in the punk scene. And all of the punk rockers used to fight Nazis at bars because you had to fight them to keep them out of your scene, or they would come in and ruin it because they were all about violence and hatred and racism, just like you see now on the internet with the same sort of people. So when I was younger, that's what you did. You fought Nazis in bars. So I don't even understand why we're having this conversation now. We've already determined in World War II that they're terrible. And then again in the punk rock scene when the neo-Nazis came in and destroyed the skinhead movement, actually. But so I made a bunch of those necklaces last week. And then I'm also doing this really cool, well, I think it's cool. It's a sort of a visual journal of all the things that are fascist-like that are happening since we have this new regime in power in the United States. So instead of referring to directly, I just refer to him as 45. And I've been doing different illustrations like every couple days about different things that have been happening. And so this week I did...
I saw the one about the dead fish.
Yeah, because that's the most recent one that I did. They passed a bill that now allows coal mines to dump waste into freshwater streams.
Oh,
and
because that's a good idea.
Yeah, it's horrifying, right? So that's the most recent illustration that I did, and we'll post that in the show notes. And then I did one on leaks because there's been so many leaks coming out of the White House. So I did one called Leaks, and then I did another one about the Dakota Access Pipeline. and about just how awful that whole thing is, because Trump's also responsible for allowing the drilling to continue there because he has investments in the company that is, making the money off of the oil that they're going to get from that. So I've been doing that, and I just kicked a whole bunch of people out of my art studio so that I could get to this podcast on time because I had a book club. And I'll talk about the book club a little bit later because it'll be my recommendation at the end. There.
Very cool.
Talked a lot. Yeah. There you go.
Jeff, what about you? What you been doing?
I'm always fascinated by Amy's what I've been doing this week because she's always on it. All right, so what did I do this week? So this week was a very monumental week for me in my personal life.
Monumental.
For those,
okay.
Monumental. Like I had a lot of things happen, not even just in the same week. A couple of things dramatic happened to me in the same day. So what have I been working on? The first thing I've been working on is I'm looking for a house. Been looking for a house for a while now. But now I'm putting a deal on a house like next week. Not a deal. Putting an offer on a house like next week because this is getting annoying and I need to finish this up so I can move on with my life. So that's huge. Second thing is we closed the deal with the Harlem YMCA. So that's going to be the official partner for one of the official partners for the STEM program. And we're actually partnering with them and going to be operating the program with Thurgood Marshall Academy. It's a high school in Harlem, New York, and we're going to be doing it primarily with their kids, but we're going to be bringing in a couple of different groups of kids so that way it's not just specifically for those kids at that school. I want to make sure I make it available to a lot of kids. So applications are going to be open. You can actually start applying. I also finished up the I guess you can call it a job position that's also posted online. So I'm going to be going around. The next step for me is to go around to a couple of technical colleges and try and get some people who are in technical colleges so that see if they're interested in teaching and they're going to be able to do like a paid internship with me teaching the STEM program. So house STEM program. Also, I just got word back. I'm going to be having a conversation with a couple of people. I'm not going to mention their names, but I have 2 potential sponsors for the program. These are going to be smaller electronic companies. Well, they're not really that small, but we're going to be trying to see if we can work out sponsorship deals for them so they can provide me with some free equipment so that I can run this on a lower budget than initially anticipated.
Dude, that's incredible.
And so, yeah,
that's great.
Congratulations,
thank you, sir and lady. It's cool. Make sure you guys both get that in there. But so that was a huge, and it's funny because all week I've been working on things and I really got news from all 3 on the same day, which was kind of crazy for me because it's like one good thing after another good thing after another good thing. Even though I've been slowly working on those things, like just to hear back from everybody on the same day was kind of crazy.
Yeah, when it all comes home at the same time, it feels pretty good.
Aww.
Yeah, it feels pretty good. So we're going to be moving forward with everything. Hopefully we're going to be able to balance. And this is the other thing I've also been doing. So for those of you who are Star Wars fan, which is most of us on this podcast, if you're probably familiar with the new BB-8 droid, and I don't know why, but for some reason I've been obsessed with making a BB-8. And so I took your advice, Bill. I downloaded Fusion 360. I'm learning this thing is a lot more. It's a lot more robust, which I knew because it was designed for this. If you're professional, this is what you're using. But it's a lot more robust than I originally anticipated. So now I'm using Fusion 360 to design my version of a BB-8 droid.
Oh, that's cool.
And part of the reason why I'm doing that is twofold. First reason is because the STEM program is going to be a project-based program where the kids are going to be learning basics in electronics, robotics, and they're going to make a wheeled robot, right? Because I've made wheeled robots before, I don't necessarily need to start from scratch, so I'd be pretty bored doing that. So I thought, hey, there's no difference between a wheeled robot and a BB-8. So, and yes, there's a difference because one's on like a flat surface and one is in a sphere. But electronically, it's nothing different. Both have 2 wheels, a motor. It's just the way that you put the wheels into the system and you use what's called I don't know if you guys are familiar with hamster wheels basically you just run and whatever.
Yeah.
Just putting. So that is what I have been obsessed with. I've probably looked at 1,000 BB-8 videos. Went through a couple of websites, how-tos and stuff like that just to do my research part. I've been doing the design in Fusion 360, and probably with the first order of stuff that I get for the STEM program, I'm going to use some of it to make the BB-8 as I'm working through continuing to develop the curriculum. So that's what I've been working on this week. It's been a lot of cerebral things, not too much like making something tangible, but a lot of small things are starting to come to fruition for me. So it's been a really good week.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, wow.
That's great. Once again, I regret going last. So, by the time this episode comes out, the No Lathe Pen Challenge will be over. Yes. Right now, at this moment, we're recording on a Saturday, which is weird for us, but at this moment, there are over 150 entries.
That's incredible!
Yeah, so the judges have a lot of work ahead of them. I've been in touch with all of them. I told them that what they should do when the contest closes is put together a short list. Like, pick, it doesn't matter how many there are, but go through and pick the ones that they feel have potential, because that way you're not going through 150 videos. By the way, I did the math. It is over 12 hours. It's over like 14 hours of video at this point. So
wow.
It's a lot of stuff to watch. It's a lot of stuff to watch.
Yeah.
So I'm so happy, and I kind of wish I had arranged for more than 3 prizes, because now I feel kind of bad.
Oh,
I didn't know you had 3. I thought you only had 1. I thought there was only the first place.
First place gets the lathe and all the stuff from Rockler. Second place gets a set of turning tools from my buddy Tommy Gonzalez. He makes them custom. Third place is some stuff from Amy and I. And I'm thinking I might have to arrange like a special prize for anybody. A surprising number of people. This was their first video ever.
Oh.
So I feel like anybody. I don't know. I feel like anybody who did their first video ever, I should send them something.
Yeah. Let's work together, you and me, Bill, on the side. Maybe we can come up with something. Me. Well, let's put together some sort of something that we can send.
I'll pay. I'll send you. Yeah, I'll send you some money, because you don't want to trust me with the sending stuff.
Yeah.
You don't want to. I'll just Venmo you some money.
Yeah, I can send stickers or art prints or necklaces. Maybe we can figure out something that we can send out to people.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, no, that's a good idea. We can work on that later.
So this is a No Lathe Pen Challenge sponsored by Maker's Hustle and One Car Workshop.
What? Okay, we'll talk off air.
Yeah.
I have some ideas.
Okay, cool.
Ooh.
And then, let's see, I got my video out for this week. It was it only really came out yesterday. I've been trying to put them out a little early, but I was delayed a little bit. I made a whiskey tumbler out of white oak. I turned it on the lathe, and whiskey is aged in white oak barrels, and then they basically set a fire inside the barrel and char the inside, and that's what flavors the whiskey. Okay, so I just thought it would be cool if I made this cup for whiskey, and then while it's still on the lathe and it's spinning around, I took a torch to it and I charred the inside. Ooh. So it was spinning and there was fire, and the first 2 didn't work out, but I finally got one to work, so I've got my process down, and when I get some more white oak, I think I might make like a batch of them, and just because a whole bunch of people have asked me, like, hey, are you going to sell those? Because I would buy that.
Yeah, that is so cool. I would buy one of those.
Yeah, they're really neat. It's a neat little idea. I'm really happy with how it came out. And then the last thing that happened was I got a cat.
Yay!
Saw that.
Yeah, no, I was sitting in the shop. I was working on a Valentine's gift for my wife. It was just about done, and this cat walks up from outside and just like nuzzles my leg and goes, "I live here now." And I went, "Okay." So there's now a cat.
I'm
going to
do that someday. I'm just going to show up at Bill's house. I live here now.
I heard you were taking in strays.
Yeah, hello. Things aren't working out for me over here.
So yeah, now there's a cat living in the shop. I wasn't really looking for a cat. I'm not much of a cat person, but now I have a cat. So it's cool. He's really relaxed. I was running power tools and he didn't care. He's just taking a nap. So
there's shade.
Yeah.
It's not wet.
Aww.
Yeah, exactly. There's food and shelter, and it's not cold. I'm good. We're good.
Aww,
you can do whatever you got to
nice.
do. Yeah.
Did you get cat food yet?
Yeah.
Oh, man, you're official.
Well, I brought him to the vet and everything, made sure he's vaccinated, made sure he didn't have any parasites that he was going to pass on to the dog or the guinea pigs or anything like that. I got a zoo. There's a zoo over here. But no, the cat stays downstairs just because he's only been here for like 3 days. I don't know how he's going to react. I don't know if he's going to like fight the dog or whatever. But he's happy in the garage, and it's way better than outside. And the garage is insulated now, so it's climate controlled. I cleaned the whole thing out before he came in, so there's no dust or anything. And he's just hanging out. I got him a cat bed and everything, so he's good.
All right,
Bill. Get him a toy.
Yeah, and he's declawed. Who puts a declawed cat outside?
Horrible people.
Like, seriously, they can't do anything.
People are the worst.
Yeah, they are. All right, let's stop talking about how people are the worst. Let's talk about something else.
All right.
So this week, we're talking about another email that we got.
Yay, emails.
So this one is from B.R. Delaney. Okay, a little bit of background. He's in his mid-30s, lives and works out of a studio in upstate New York, has been a furniture builder, designer, and fabricator all his life. 2.5 years ago, he quit his full-time job to start a freelance career. The thought was to start working for himself in the industry he knew in preparation for starting a business as a furniture builder. And then he started the business, went to his first furniture show, got some commissions. He was in the black in his first year, like turning a profit, which is incredible. So the letter goes on to say, you would think, what's so bad about all this? What it comes down to is I really feel like I've hit a rut. I listen to podcasts, read blogs, and consume as much content as I can about entrepreneurship, but I really feel like I'm missing out. I got a few commissions last year and a few sales at shows, but I'm not feeling like I've got a system that works or even a clue of how to get one. I watch other artisans post on social media and get commissions and praise almost instantaneously, while I repeatedly ask my wife, what are we doing wrong? This has started affecting my design as well. Now I'm trying to think about designs that will sell instead of designs that fit my aesthetic. I think you get the idea. So his question to us is, how do you get through these times? Do you change your designs to fit the current trends? Do you pay for followers on Instagram?
No.
Because he's not really going to do that. And how do you break out of this bubble? He does say, any and all thoughts would be greatly appreciated. Don't worry. While I'm not really feeling empowered with my business right now, I'm not going to stop.
Well, that's good.
Well, that's the best attitude.
So that is absolutely the right way to be.
And as long as he's still in the black, he can continue. The rut is not going to destroy his passion, hopefully.
Yeah, well, the happiness would be nice. So let's
happiness
work on
would be
ways
good,
to... So what we're going to talk about today is when you get stuck in a rut, how do you get out of it?
Yes.
Okay, well, first of all, don't ever pay for followers on any social media because it's all fake. If you do pay for it, it's fake followers. It's robots. It shoots your numbers up, but it's not actual eyeballs looking at what you're doing, and it doesn't help you at all.
And then one day the platform gets wise and deletes them, and you wonder where they went.
They slowly delete all the fake accounts. Like they do sweeps, and they do it on Twitter a lot. So if you have any fake followers, your numbers will slowly go down. I know people that have paid for like 25,000 followers, and they still to this day like have 17,000 left of these robot accounts. But whenever they tweet or say anything, nobody responds. Nobody. It doesn't get retweeted. It doesn't increase your visibility in any way whatsoever, and you're out like $10 or whatever you pay to do it. So don't do that. And then the other thing that happens on social media that he mentioned about how he sees people that constantly get praise or constantly get commissions as soon as they say something. A lot of that is BS, quite frankly. And a lot of people have talked about this sort of phenomenon where people put their best face forward on social media, and so they're going to make it look like they're more popular than they really are. So don't let it get to you. And it's also sort of like your own bias, where if you're feeling bad about yourself and you look and you look out and you see all these people that appear to be happy and appear to be really successful, and you sort of internalize that and you're like, why isn't that me? Well, it's because those people aren't putting forth all the negative things that are happening in their daily business, or how in debt they are, or how much money they owe. They're only saying, oh, look, I sold this painting, or, I just got this gig. And while it might be true for some people, it's certainly not something to base your success on. Like, you shouldn't be comparing yourself to how good somebody else appears to be doing, because you really will never know how good they're actually doing.
Yeah, it's that phenomenon. That I've seen that and heard of that before. I believe it's called image crafting.
Yeah.
Or at least that's like the academic term, I guess. But yeah, people will, when they go post on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or whatever, they will post the things that make them look the way they want to look. If they want to look successful, they will post about their successes. If they want, to look sad so that you'll, have sympathy and ask what's wrong, they'll only post, sad, cryptic, what's it called, vague booking?
Yeah.
Yeah, they go on,
That's
it's
when
like,
you're
oh,
talking
I'm so
about someone else.
sad.
Yeah.
Or like,
what's the matter?
I really hate it when people do this and they're not real friends, and then you have all these people jumping on it. What's wrong, honey? Oh.
Yeah.
No, don't do that. But
So
people do this. It's a phenomenon. It's a thing. Like they project the way that they want to be seen, and then other people see them that way.
Which is a good thing in business in a certain sense. You don't want to be like the type of person that's always complaining on the internet. You don't want to be that person. You want to have, a balance between, I always say, a balance between your business and entertainment. If you want to keep a following on Twitter or a place like that, it has to, it has to be a sweet spot where you're not complaining too much, you're not boasting too much, but you're also still keeping your feed entertaining. So that's a way at least to attract more people.
So, first things first, let's get this out the way. This guy does incredible work. And I really know nothing about woodworking, but when he sent the letter, I went to his website because every time somebody sends us letters, I like to do research and look at what it is that you have going on so that I can be a little bit more informed instead of just answering from my own, what I would do if it was me. So, the work is gorgeous.
Yeah, it is.
I'm actually thinking about ordering something for the new house. That was the first thing that crossed my mind. That would be incredible for my house. So you might be getting an order from me. So that's the first thing I think needs to get out the way. The other thing that I think when I was looking at his website is I really want to stress marketing. And I think when you're looking at how do I help my company grow, I think a lot of times we think passively because we have good work, people are going to see it and people are going to want to purchase. And there's one thing that I noticed specifically about his website is I don't see an Instagram, and he may have an Instagram, but I don't see a link to Instagram. And I think with stuff like visual art, especially people like makers of wood and craft and artwork like that, I think you need to have an Instagram because people are lazy. They just want to see stuff. And utilizing Instagram in that way, he has gorgeous pictures. He puts his art in. This is incredible. He puts the woodworking pieces in like around, I'm guessing it's around his house. And it's just perfectly centered and it's gorgeous. The wood looks natural. And I think people would appreciate that being online in a way that they could just see it as they're scrolling. And I think getting followers on social media is going to be an incredible way for him to build up that customer base. The next thing that I think that I'm sure he already does, but when you go to those festivals or those, I don't know what you call them, those art shows, when you go to the art shows or the festivals, I think building a customer list at those shows, building a mailing list. I think a lot of us underestimate the power of a mailing list. And not a mailing list where you're collecting people's stuff so you can send them BS all the time, because like Groupon, you don't want to be that guy. But definitely when you have a mailing list of people who like your work and you can send them like, hey, listen, I'm doing a promotion. If you reach out to me now, I can get you in, or finding creative ways to connect with people, instead of just waiting for, you to build up a customer base for people who are saying, oh, I heard about you from such and such. Referrals are good, but also we can't underestimate the power of active sales. And I say that for a very specific reason. When I was trying to find somebody to partner with for this program, for the STEM program, I went to different community organizations. Like I went to the YMCA 3 times, and each time they sent me to somebody else. And then I got a bunch of business cards and I was calling people and I shot out probably 100 emails and only about 3 people reached back to me. And then out of the 3 people that reached back to me, we ended up only doing it with 1 person. And, I could have I could have just sent out the email and that would have been it. But, just being persistent and actively engaging people and basically not stalking people, but stalking people.
Well,
I think that's
been my whole marketing strategy since day one, is to be just annoying enough.
Yeah.
I'm not joking.
Just send them.
It sounds like a joke, but I'm not.
I've been annoying. I feel like, and it's kind of hard because sometimes it goes against who you are at the root. Like, I'm not one of those people. Like, I don't really like to chase people down. I really don't want to actively try to talk to people about stuff or sell my product. Like, I'm really not interested in doing that. That's not something that inherently I do, but it's something that I've found that I have to do. And so basically I force myself to do it. I'm not really a people person. I fake it on this podcast, but so that is something that I would suggest. So definitely when you do those art shows, build up a customer base. I don't care if it's maybe you, and I'm sure there's thousands of people there. So go order yourself some stickers, and tell them, like, hey, sign up for this mailing list, take a sticker. And if, say maybe you do like a raffle or something, leave your name, your phone number, or name and email address, and we'll email you if you win, and you'll win a prize piece. Like, basically make something small so it doesn't cost you a lot of time and money. Put it on your bench and say, sign up for this and you can enter to win this little prize piece. So you do that, you'll build up the customer base, so that way you can start to send people your stuff, and then tell them to follow you on social media. That's how we're going to let you know who the winner is. Right. So now you're getting people to follow. You're basically killing two birds with one stone. And if you have that Instagram, you'd be like, hey, listen, the winner is such and such. And one person wins something small, but then you ended up getting 500 followers. And then those 500 followers start liking your products. More and more people see the fact that they liked it. You put a bunch of tags. Now you got a lot of organic, more relatively organic clicks. And so now you're able to access more people, and you're actively accessing more people, and you're building up a customer base. And I think as long as you continue to create this beautiful work, the people are going to come. You just have to be a little bit more active in the way that you engage those people. And that's all I have.
Yeah. Okay.
There's also a really good way. Like he said, do I start making things that people will buy? Like, do you make things that you're not as proud of, I guess is the way of saying it, or that are less creative or less,
or you start
pleasing to
pandering to whatever the popular taste is at that moment?
Okay, my answer to that is yeah, you do that. Okay, no, seriously, because like I do that with surly-ramics, right? Like I constantly listen to what people want. I'm constantly obsessed with popular culture, different sayings, things that are going on, things that I know are going to be popular. I pay attention to the news like a hawk, because I know that I can make a T-shirt design in 5 seconds that I can sell, like I did with that Nasty Woman shirt, and raise money for Planned Parenthood, whatever. Like I do a lot of things that to me aren't actual artwork, but I do it because it helps me to reach more people. So there's this little trick that you can do, like in a department store or in your online store, which might work really well for this guy, is if he makes some smaller pieces that you can sell for like $20. You do the cutting boards, you do the those bowls, you do whatever it is that is less money, but then you also have products that are thousands of dollars, and that works really well for a lot of people in a lot of different kinds of businesses. If you have a really high price point object, you're more likely to sell your mid-range things than you are just your really inexpensive things. So it's kind of this little trick that you do. So you always have something in your shop that's at least 5 times what everything else is worth. But then you also make all these little things, and those little things, although they might not, make your soul swell with happiness, they're going to help pay for dinner and all the other little things. A lot of the necklaces that I make are not things that I'm in love with, right? Mm-hmm. But I do them so that I can then have time and the freedom to do the visual journal about fascism on the side, that I know people aren't going to buy that stuff, right? Like I have a million paintings on my wall that I don't expect to sell until, maybe I'm in my 60s or something, but it allows me the freedom to do that. So sometimes I think that it's okay. And I don't think that you're like ruining your reputation as an artist. If you're doing something that you're selling, you're still making it. You're still a maker and you're still creating things. But yeah, sometimes I think it's important. Like for a woodworker, think about it. Like what could you make? Could you make drumsticks? Could you make custom bowls? Could you make, some sort of thing that's not like an armoire, but it's something that you can churn out and make those bucks, to help get you through. And then those people that like your work are going to come back, and maybe then they're going to shell out the money for something really expensive. So I say, yeah, do it.
Now,
make whatever you can.
By the way, you're giving me some great ideas. I'm looking at his work and I'm like, what can I get made? And I think that my wife keeps talking about we need to get a vanity for the new house. Like right now we don't have, like when she gets dressed, she has to go from the bathroom to the living room mirror. And she was like, when we get a house, I want a vanity. So I'm just looking at this. I'm like, I think I can get a vanity out of this guy. But that gave me a very, what you were just saying, I agree with, but I also think before he goes to doing, I think he should do that. Definitely make something small that he could put on his page, and that would be nice if you like went to his page and he had something that you can purchase. Right now I don't believe that there's anything small.
Yeah, it looks like right now he's doing like commission-based client work. Like they request a piece, he designs it with them, he builds it, they come back for it, a few months later or whatever, it's done.
Yeah, I don't know enough about the like the woodworking scene to know if this is how most woodworkers do it, or if you were to go to woodworker, like some other woodworkers pages, they would have something small. I know like Jimmy had something small, and he also had like tools and stuff that you could purchase. But I think if you had something that people could purchase off of your website, or that you had available on Amazon or Etsy or whatever, that would just give you income. And I know this isn't about income, but I think that's something that you can utilize and integrate into your business model very easily. But that being said, I forgot what I was going to say. That being said, before you completely go off into pandering people's requests, which I think is a little bit, I agree with what you're saying, Amy, but I don't think that was specifically an answer for his question. I think I would try to market better before you go off into pandering, because you might find that maybe you weren't marketing enough, and people would really appreciate the stuff that you do and you love to do, and therefore you don't necessarily have to pander as much. Yeah. So I would definitely readjust the marketing strategy and really go hard with that for a couple of months. And then after doing that for a little, because it's all about testing, right? So then after doing that and you see like, yeah, this marketing thing, I'm working really hard at it, but I'm not getting any returns on it, then I would probably start to pander a little bit. Yeah, okay. But before you completely pander,
the furniture business is so difficult. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's fine.
It's just the furniture is so hard to sell, especially in our economy right now, because people know that they can go to IKEA and buy a piece of crap for.
Hey, I like IKEA. Don't judge me. The table that I'm using right now is from IKEA.
I will say this: IKEA, some of their designs are aesthetically pleasing. The quality is not there. They will fall apart if you look at them funny. Now, Amy, what I will say is that
actually everything in my house is from IKEA.
Yeah, that's super common. But I think if you're running a custom furniture business, that's not your target market. The person going to IKEA is not your target market. The person who you're going to is the person who wants to buy one thing and keep it for the rest of their lives, and then their kids get it, and then their kids get it. Because when you buy something custom, that's what you get. You get an heirloom piece. IKEA is not an heirloom piece, and it never will be. Right. You know?
But the problem with that whole mentality in terms of running a business is that you have narrowed your client base to such a small number, because there's not a lot of people out there that can afford to do something like that, and that's why they go to IKEA. And that's why I think that it's important, if you're starting out and if he's concerned at all about, just making ends meet or being in a rut, or he just wants sort of that instant gratification of feeling like, somebody likes what I'm doing, then, that's why... Yeah,
let's back this up a couple of steps, because I'm not sure if he said that he's trying to make ends meet, because he's not. He said that he's in the black and he's getting commissions, and he's asking, but he's stuck in a rut because he doesn't feel like he's getting the recognition.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is take a step back and look. If your business model is working, okay, if you're making high-end commission furniture and you're selling it, good. Don't change anything, okay? Don't.
What's the problem? Yeah. Why are we even podcasting? No. I don't understand.
I'm getting to that because I've been taking notes the whole time you two have been talking, just waiting for my turn, and now it's my turn. Here we go. If your business model works, don't change it. All right. If you're getting commissions and they're selling, don't change your style. Don't pander. Don't try to do like reclaimed palette whatever if you don't love it, because you know what? Just because it's painted white on Pinterest doesn't mean that you have to make it. All right, plenty of other people are doing that. Stuff. Everybody does, like paint it Pinterest white and have it, or palettes and like some words on the wall. No, don't do that stuff. If that's not you, don't do it. Okay, plenty of other people are already doing it. You don't have to follow them, because you're making money doing what you want to do. All right.
Yeah.
So here's what I need you to consider. I'm speaking directly now, okay? But minimize roadblocks between your client and the sale, okay? So on your website, on the first page, like the front page, it's all pictures right now, okay? There needs to be your phone number and your email right there on the first page. They need to be able to contact you right away, okay? Not click over to the about or the contact page. They need to be able to contact you on page 1. No clicks, right there, okay? Second thing, play to your strengths, all right? If your strengths are building furniture, build furniture, all right? If you suck at marketing, hire somebody else to do your marketing, okay? It might be part-time. You might only be able to bring somebody in for 4 hours every week, okay? But if you suck at it and you hate doing it, you're not going to do it well, all right? So if you can bring somebody else in who will market you and promote you and, like, handle your social media stuff, do that, all right? Because stop trying to do what you're bad at, because it's just banging your head against the wall and you're going to hate it, okay? And now that you're not responsible for marketing anymore, or even if you have somebody who loves marketing, like I know the three of us, we're marketing is kind of like a second job for us. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
the making stuff is fun, but the marketing, the making stuff is like a whole different kind of fun. But if you hate that stuff, just having somebody to bounce the ideas off of can make that whole thing a lot easier. You know what I mean? Even if you can't afford to have them there all the time, just having somebody like, okay, here's how we're going to handle your social media. This is the kind of stuff you're going to post. You need to post at least one thing a day, and it needs to like match this brand, and you're going to like target these people and ask for this kind of feedback. Because I've seen some very successful stuff on Instagram that, in honesty, is not difficult. Okay, it's not half as difficult as the stuff that he's building. No. All right. No. But what the person
Everything
does,
has curves,
like, hey, tag somebody who would enjoy this piece of furniture, or like take back to when I installed this. Just because you didn't install anything that week doesn't mean you don't have a whole library of work that's never been on Instagram. Post one of those, and just say, what's your favorite part about this piece? What do you like about it? What do you not like about it? People are more likely to respond if you ask them to. And that's a trick that we use on YouTube too. If you say to somebody like, hey, if you like this video, tell a friend about it. They'll actually do it. It's bizarre, but it works. And then the last thing I'm going to say is, if you're starting to feel stale in your designs, which that's a different problem, okay? If that's the rut that you're in, then you need to find a way to make it yours. You need to find a way to build things that make you happy, all right? And within any project, like if the client wants you to build a mid-century coffee table and you are more of a fan of like this super ultra modern thing, then you need to find like a detail in that coffee table that you love. And like throw yourself into that detail, whether it's like the way that you put this piece to this piece, or like the finish that you used. Make your client happy, but you have to be happy too, So I guess what I'm saying is, if you're already making money, guess what? The hard part is over.
Yes, that is true.
That's the hardest part. That's the part that people struggle with all the time. If you are actually pulling in more than you're putting out, congratulations, because everything from here on out is a cakewalk, all right? Just do the things that you're good at, and if you really hate marketing, find somebody else to do your marketing for you. Otherwise, the community will come, Like he said that he was turning a profit within a year, which is incredible, okay?
Yeah.
Within a year, I don't even want to... I don't know, man. I spent way more than I brought in. Yeah.
All the stuff I do, I'm still broke, so I'm envious of him.
Yeah.
But, Bill, let me get this out before I forget, because I've forgotten twice and remembered already. All right. So, two things. Never underestimate the power of giveaways. And it's not even like small giveaways. I mean, not even like big giveaways, but something small that you had in your shop for I don't know how long. And we're seeing it now with Bill's No Lave Challenge. Like, people will respond if you give them an opportunity. So, put something out there, a giveaway, do it like a marketing thing for a little bit just to see how good you market or how bad you market. Do it on Instagram. You said Pinterest. I think Pinterest is another platform that's perfect for this type of work. So that is one thing. The other thing and we talked about this on an episode, and I'm trying not to forget because it's like slipping out of my mind. But we talked about it on a previous episode. Be very weary of who it is that you think that you're marketing to.
Yeah.
I'll put it like this. The people who like videos and stuff like that from Bill, they're trying, most of them are just people who are already making, and so they're making it because they're trying to they're watching the videos because they're trying to support Bill. They're trying to see what Bill is up to.
Or they're watching it for ideas, It's not like they're watching it so they can buy it. Because
exactly.
even if they did, I wasn't selling it, so it's
Yeah,
okay.
you weren't selling. But so be very careful, because you could be, if you have 200,000 followers, and this is just a random number, but these are all people who make the stuff that you make, they're not going to buy it.
Right.
Right. So make sure that 200,000 followers that you have, and pick any number, majority of those are people who are interested in your work. They're just waiting for the right thing to purchase, or they're waiting until, you give them something that they can't refuse.
Or they're
Right?
waiting
So
until they, I like this designer, I'm going to save up my money until I can afford to buy one of his pieces.
Exactly.
Because I've done that before. Like there are artists that I like, and I go, one day I'm going to buy like one of those illustrations. It just won't be today because I can't afford it.
Yes, exactly. So I would be very, and that's not easy to do. And maybe the way that you find that out is by asking those questions. Like, let's say you just started your Instagram, you're on your Twitter, right? I went on his Twitter feed, and so I didn't read anything, but asking the people who follow you what it is that they like about your work, or just trying to engage with them to get a better sense of who it is that's following you. Because if you got 100 followers, 200 followers, 300 followers, and none of them are interested in the work, they're just looking at it because they're trying to see what about your work they can try to learn from or kind of tailor, or they're not going to buy, then those 200 people are good people, but they're not going to put any money in your pocket, and they're not going to help you get out of that rut. So maybe you have to kind of tailor your marketing strategy to customer acquisition instead of just customer retention, because right now you could be in a customer retention phase instead of a customer acquisition phase.
But if the bills are getting paid,
and if the bills are paid, don't worry about any of this.
Well, if the bills are paid, the nice thing is you can afford to play with a few different things and see what works. Yeah. And if it doesn't work, nothing bad has happened. Okay, all you've done is you can check that one off the list. You've tried it; it didn't work out. Try something else.
Yep.
Okay, because I know that the people who follow me on most of the people who follow me on Instagram are not the same people who subscribe to me on YouTube. I don't know why that is, but every time I post a video on YouTube, I will wait like a day, and then I'll post a screenshot from it or a little short clip of it on Instagram, and some of those people will click over and watch it, and I know because I can see the traffic spike afterwards. Okay, but so I have like several different audiences going on, and I know that they're different, but I know that the people who subscribe to me on YouTube will actually go watch the video the second it comes out. The people on Instagram, some of them will, but they need a nudge. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So just because you have like all these followers or whatever doesn't mean that you have all these customers. You have a bunch of looky-loos. But that's you kind of have to treat social media that way anyhow. Yeah. You know? And if you're looking for something to increase engagement on social media for cheap, we've been talking about, making a cutting board or whatever, or something I want to talk about is merch, okay? Like seriously, throw your logo on a t-shirt. All right? Throw it on a hat. You can do it with print on demand for cheap, okay? And what you can do, you can give away a t-shirt for $15, all right? It costs you $15 out of your pocket. People love shirts. And now you've got somebody else walking around wearing your logo everywhere they go.
Yeah, and stickers, dude.
And stickers. People love stickers. Get into the sticker
people
swap
love
thing.
Stickers.
Yeah. Or just send people stickers. It's fun. Hey, do you want I'll get you a hat and a shirt and some stickers, and all you have to do is like this post and tag 3 of your friends, and I'll pick somebody at the end of the week.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff helps, but all that helps for is visibility. And you have to be okay with, Jeff, something you said earlier that stuck with me, and then I almost lost it, but it just came back. You were talking about how you make all these phone calls and all these emails and do all these things, and then you end up with like one lead at the end of it, When I'm doing the agent thing, I'll call, like 10 companies, and I'll call those 10 companies for like a week. Yeah. And then I'll call another 10 companies, and then another, and at the end of like a month, I've got maybe possibly 1 or 2 leads that are actually going to produce something that's going to make money, Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you have to get in the mindset of like, it's not about having a fishing pole that always catches a fish. It's about having a very big net.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
And for me, it's when I go.
One.
Yeah. And if you get one and you can keep the lights on, you are succeeding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do not lose sight of that. Okay. If you're paying the bills, you are succeeding.
So for me, it's very similar with going to the events, and I've mentioned this before too. Like I do a lot of events every year, and one of the main things I do at 4 is not so much to make money, but to build my customer base. And so I spend the entire time handing out stickers, handing out business cards, talking to people, asking them what they're interested in, paying attention to what people pick up and set down. So just because you're seeing other people being more successful than you at an event or on social media doesn't mean that what you're doing isn't building future successes for you at that same time. Yeah. So don't let it get you down, but still continue to do those things. And I really think going to events is, really great for a small business. And it really does help you to have that one-on-one contact with a person, for them to sort of like connect with you and then want to be more involved with your artwork or want to own something. If they like you, they're going to want to own something from you. So it's really beneficial. So keep at it.
That is a good point. That is a good, especially really, something like this.
I mean, I know it can be kind of easy to feel down in the dumps, but you're doing everything right. I mean, from what we can tell, you're not doing anything wrong. Okay, so I just lost what I was going to say. You're doing everything right, man.
Delivery.
Just keep at it.
Yeah,
just don't let other people's successes like overpower your own success.
Okay, you know what?
Or overshadows it.
You should be waking up every morning and doing a victory dance because you're profitable inside the first year. That does not happen.
Yeah,
it doesn't happen.
Most businesses fail within the first 2 years. They go bankrupt.
Yeah,
so.
And you didn't. All right, so give yourself a round of applause every friggin' day because you deserve it. All right, but you need to develop that develop that patience and just learn that developing a following, like a real organic following of people who actually care, that's going to take a little while. But you will get there. Yeah. So, let's do some recommendations because we've been talking for a while.
All right.
I'm more than happy to go first if you want.
I'm not going to lie. This energized me. This woke me up.
Yeah, you feel good now? You sure it wasn't the nap that energized you?
Well, yeah, the nap helped, but going into the episode when I first woke up, I was like, dang it, what are we talking about? And then it kicked in as you started reading. I was like, oh yeah, I had a lot to say.
Yeah. So, I did too. This was a great letter.
This was a great question. Great question.
All right. So what I'm going to recommend this week is, and bear with me for a second, I'm going to recommend Gary Vee, however, I've recommended Gary Vee before, but what I was recommending from Gary Vee was his content. And Amy, you've seen it. He's the guy who swears a lot. Yeah. He's like super edgy marketing guy. Swear. Yeah. Yeah. He thinks he's really like hot or something.
Wait, I just watched a video today. He said, "Nobody cares about your feelings, bro."
Yeah. That's like okay. Your Gary Vee impression is on point, dude. No, that's good.
So
no, what
funny,
I'm going to recommend though is I'm not telling you to go watch Gary Vee videos on YouTube. I'm telling you to go look at the Instagram feed and look at the tactics that they use to get engagement. Because that guy is doing it right. Like he's got people who do this for him. Okay, he has marketing people, but I want you to go look at the tactics that they use in those posts about tag your friends or tag somebody who needs to see this, tag somebody who would like this, or just go look at that stuff because that is how you get engagement. Okay, and whenever I can remember to do stuff, I'm really terrible at that. Okay, I post what I want to post, and if people like it, then they like it. And more often, I've been attracting followers who actually do like it, so I'm getting it consistently. The number of people who like my stuff is going up every time I post something. But go look at what Gary Vee is doing on his Instagram. Go look at the strategies that they use to get engagement from their social media followers. Because if social media engagement's what you want, that's a good place to start. Just go write down what you think worked about that post. Write down what you think didn't work. If you like it, if you don't like it, make notes. Go look at others' successful social media profiles and take notes. It sounds really like a silly exercise, but do it. That's it. I'm done. Who's next?
That's meaningful. I'll go next because mine is quick.
Okay.
So my recommendation for this week, because I am severely unprepared, is I want to recommend everybody to go check out the Fieldstone Artistry website. All right, so you can go to fieldstonearts.com, check out a lot of the great woodworking that he does. He does commission work, and so if you're interested in getting something for your new house like I am, you can reach out to BR and try and get you something off of his. And I'm sure he does deliveries. I don't know how far you have to live. So if you're on the West Coast, sorry. But he might ship from the West Coast. So go to fieldstonearts.com.
Yeah, go check that out. It's good stuff.
Yes.
Cool. So I just, right before this podcast started, I kicked about 15 people out of my art studio because once a month I have a book club meetup for a bunch of ladies, and we get together and we read a cool book. And this month we read Margaret Atwood's The Handmaid's Tale. And I highly recommend everybody pick up this book, read it. It was written in the 80s, but it sounds like it's right now, y'all. It's so crazy to read this book. It's basically a dystopian novel about when the government, like, sort of just takes over. Like, on President's Day, they shoot everyone in Congress, and a new fascist dictatorhood sort of takes over, and women lose all their rights, and they are basically just breeding machines for the wealthy. And it's very bizarre, but so many parallels as to what's actually happening in real life. It will freak you out. So read this book. It's called The Handmaid's Tale. If you hate to read, don't worry about it, because it's also going to be a series that's coming out on Hulu in March, and I believe they've also made a movie out of it. But it's really, really, really fantastic. And we just had the greatest get together. Like, a bunch of us all sat around eating pizza talking about this book. And it was so fascinating. And it really it teaches you, like, how to resist, and how even the smallest things that you can do to sort of maintain control, and how you can survive even in the worst of situations. So check out that book, you guys. It's too real. It's freaking me out, but it's really good.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So that's my recommendation. Yeah,
you read a book a month?
Yeah.
Wow, that's intense.
I have a meetup here every month. A bunch of us get together, and we pick a different book, and yeah, it's fun. It's been really good for me because, like, I really hate to settle down and read, but this has helped me. And for like the past year now, we've been doing this, and I love it. So start a book club. That's another recommendation. Even if you hate to read, you can do audiobooks for makers. That's what I do a lot. Yeah, because if I don't I actually read this book. I in one sitting, like sometime last week. I stayed up till 2:30 in the morning. I couldn't put it down. I read the whole entire book at once.
You can read a lot of times book in one sitting.
I did.
Wow.
Well, it took me like 8 hours, but I just got so into this book.
Louise, that's a long time.
I was like, I have to read this whole thing. I'm like, there's going to be a message in here somehow that's going to help me get through what's happening in the world right now. But yeah, audiobooks are great for makers. A lot of the times when we'll have a book, I'll find a good audio version, and then I can keep working while I'm listening to it. So that's a good way to do it.
Cool.
That's how I've read most of the books that I've.
Yeah, you listen to your books instead.
It's like reading.
Yes, that's how I have.
You know, when you're all caught up on Maker's Hustle, you can listen to an audiobook instead.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just like listening to a podcast. Yeah.
So before we close this thing up for the week, where can everybody find you?
I am everywhere on social media as @surly-amy. And if that's too hard for you, go to surly-ramics.com. That is a portal to everything that I do.
All right, you can find me at more4, the F being the number 4, on all social media. And if you have a young high school kid and you are in the New York City area and you want them to go to a STEM program done by me and my team, you can go to moreprogressproject.com, have your kid apply, and I'll see you there.
Cool.
Yeah.
And you can find me at One Car Workshop on your favorite social media platform or at onecarworkshop.com. So that's it for this week. If you're listening to the show on iTunes, please take a moment to leave us a rating and tell us what you think. You can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Makers Hustle. If you want to ask a question, give feedback, or suggest a show topic, you can contact us through social media or send an email to info@makershustlepodcast.com. If you want to complain to Bill because you don't like the co-hosts, just don't bother. I've heard it before. I don't care. Once again, thank you so much for listening. And while this show might be over, the hustle never stops. We'll see you next week, everybody.
I love you, Bill. Thank you.